Welcome back. Hold my helmet. Top 10 teams, 3/4 way through the season. I'm your host, Will Reichling.
Co-host Dylan Boyle.
Dude, top 10. We went through 1/4 way through the season, halfway through the season. Now it's time for our 3/4 of the way through the season, top 10 NFL teams.
So I did a top 5, and then after that, it came down to 15. And it's like, once you hit that 15, it's like literally all of them are interchangeable.
We'll go through 13. So we'll go through 10 and 3 teams that just missed and why. So I'll get started. Let's just go right off the bat. Let's start right away.
Let's do it. Number one. Overall pick.
Woo!
What team?
Pumped up for this,
Best
baby.
team in the league.
Best team in the league right now. Number 1 team in the NFL so far. 3/4 of the way through season 2024. Detroit Lions. Still Detroit Lions. They have a lot of injuries on defense. And, Dan Campbell, a little reckless on that 4th down the Packers games. But look, bro, that offense, Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery, they probably have the best running back duo season of all time right now. 2 stars of running back. St. Brown, Jameson Williams finally coming on. Laporta starting to get involved. Goff just playing. Goff with this offensive line. With Ben Johnson, who's probably going to be a head coaching candidate in the offseason. They really have, this is a win-now team, ready to win now. So the Lions are still the best team in the league to me. They're dominant.
Let me ask you, before I tell you, my number 1 top team, do you think if that play would have went the other way and it would have backfired them and they would have lost that game, would they still be your number 1?
Yes.
They would be.
Yes.
Interesting.
You know that I said even though that play worked that it was still stupid. It's the offense, bro. They're just so dominant on offense. I can't see the Chiefs stopping them. Yeah. I can't see. Let's just talk NFC alone. I can't see the Vikings stopping them. I can't see the Eagles stopping them. I can't see
the Chiefs stopping them.
I just said that, yeah.
And I was gonna
Chiefs,
say,
Bills,
I was about to
Lions,
say
Bills this week.
The Bills might be the one team.
We will find out this week, my friend.
Might be the best game of the season.
Game of the week. Game of the season. Yeah.
So might be the Super Bowl. Might be the Super Bowl. Well, going into that. My number 1 overall pick is also the Detroit Lions.
Okay, yeah, well, they are right now the best team.
They are. They absolutely
Why
are.
Do you think so, though?
I think, when you have a team like this that's just so run heavy, that has two running backs that, either one of them could be, can be the best running back in the league. I feel like it's more of the coaching staff, the way that they run this offense, the way that their run blockers are. I feel like they're just so dominant. And Stafford, if Goff, because it used to be Stafford. Goff has just been able to run this offense so well. He has protection, but he slings the ball. He's not that mobile, but when he has time in the pocket, he's gonna sling it and he's gonna throw it down.
There's honestly no one. There might not be anyone as dangerous as Goff when he has time. He has time. He's a top 5. A top 10 quarterback for sure. But he is top 5 ability when he has time.
It's crazy because it's not even the roster for me. It's the coaching. It's the coaching.
You're kind of contradicting our last video with the Dan Campbell thing. So you mean the coordinators, or you mean?
The coordinators.
Dan Campbell's done a great job too.
The roster's good. Montgomery's a great back, but it's very interchangeable. We saw last year with Swift and.
Well, it was still Gibbs and Montgomery last year, but Swift was a couple of years ago. Yeah, it was Gibbs and Montgomery.
2 years ago,
it was Swift and Jamal. Was it Jamal Williams?
Jamal Williams, yeah. And they look like the same offense.
Pretty much, and look, Dan Campbell's done a great job with this team. I think we're a little too harsh on him in the last video. He's going to win Coach of the Year. This is the best team in the league, and they've done a great job. Number 2, still the Buffalo Bills to me, because I know people freaked out that the Rams beat them, and the defense didn't play well. But Josh Allen, 6 total touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. This is the best version of the Bills that I've seen in the Josh Allen era. Even after that loss last week, I still think they can go in the AFC and run the table. They could beat the Chiefs. They could beat the Ravens. They could beat the Steelers. They beat the Texans. All those teams. They could beat them all. And I just think they match up well with the best teams in the NFC too. We'll find out this week against the Lions, but those Buffalo Bills, I still think they're going to be fine. Josh Allen's playing very efficient football. They actually have a pretty decent wide receiver room now with Shakir, Cooper, 2 great tight ends, and Knox and Kincaid. James Cook is a top 10 back. So John McDermott will have the defense playing fine in the playoffs. He's a defensive head coach. The Bills are still the second best team in the league to me.
Well, listen, I have also the Buffalo Bills at my number 2. And I just said that would be a great Super Bowl, the Lions and the Bills. Well, I have them both at my 1 and 2. I think the Bills could. This is their year. They're going to take it all the way. There's no reason they shouldn't. I mean, any team in the AFC, I think they could beat. I think they can beat the Chiefs, which they already did. I think they can beat. What was the other one? Texans. I think they could beat the Texans, no problems. The Steelers, I think they'll go toe to toe with, but they're the other like. I think they're truly the best team in the league. I mean, I think Josh Allen is playing the best football of his career. And he's carrying the team. I mean, we saw it last week. He kind of ran this offense. He brought them back into this game, and he brought it back to win the game. And I feel like this is just the best. This is the best season that he's ever played. There's no reason why they shouldn't make it all the way.
So, number 3, I'll go Philadelphia Eagles. I was going to put the Eagles 2 over the Buffalo Bills after the Bills lost, but then they kind of came back in that game, and the Eagles they're a great team. I mean, Saquon Barkley's really taking pressure off Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. They're 10-0 when A.J. Brown plays. The defense is honestly one of the best defenses in the league. But I just think if they went to, like, say, a Super Bowl, they go toe-to-toe with the Bills, I'll take Josh Allen over Jalen Hurts. So, and I honestly would take Sean McDermott over Nick Sirianni. So I have the slight edge to the Bills over the Eagles. But the Eagles have been great. 9 straight wins. I mean, dude, they're dominating teams. They're controlling the time and possession. Well, the Eagles actually controlled the time and possession over them, but they still felt like they had the domination in that game. The Eagles are actually just cruising their way to the playoffs, and I think they'll make it back to the NFC Championship game. So I got Eagles at 3.
Do we have an East Super Bowl? Do we have the Chiefs and Eagles Super Bowl?
Oh, we're going back with that one again. I don't know. I think the Bills edge them out.
That'd be an interesting Super Bowl.
I really think it's going to be Bills Lions, but that could change. But my opinion could change.
I think it's going to be Bills Lions too.
My opinion could change though. We'll see how that goes. But Eagles 3 to me.
So my number 3 pick, not the same as yours. Shocker. I have the Chiefs, and I feel like you have to put respect on their name. I mean, they're the first seed in the AFC. I mean, they didn't get there from being bad. They definitely didn't. I mean, I think the defense has been the key point in this team. I mean, they're the ones that's winning them games. They're the ones that that's keeping them in games. And when it comes down to it, they're always just gonna win games. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is back against the wall. He's gonna get it done. No matter what talent they have there on offense, I feel like the coaching staff. I mean, Andy Reid with Patrick Mahomes, they can get it done.
So yeah, I have the Chiefs in my 4. Number 4, I got Chiefs. They're battle-tested. They could win Super Bowls. They're great late in games. Like you saw, they controlled the time and possession against the Chargers at the end. Basically got to the last seconds with the field goal. Just basically controlled the entire end of the game. But they are a flawed team. They're not the same. They just aren't the same offensively. It feels like something's slightly off. Yes, it's a great defense, but something on offense. Pacheco's not fully healthy. You could tell. He just hasn't been fully back yet. And Kelsey, he's just not the same player. We talk about this every week. Hopkins has been a great addition, yes, but you're still Hollywood Brown was supposed to be a huge addition to this team. He's out for the season.
I think Noah Gray is going to be a great tight end.
I think he'll be okay.
Bill's in Kelsey's role.
The biggest injury of all for the Chiefs, Rashee Rice. He was becoming a star receiver. He was, and you lost him. You lost Hollywood Brown, and really, I just don't think this is the year. I think the Bills are better. So I got the Chiefs at 4. They're still a top 5 team. They have the best record in the league with the Lions. And if
you didn't have them in the top 5,
you're a hater.
I'd be a little worried.
You just don't know football. You're just being a hater and you don't really know football. So I'll go Chiefs 4.
It's the point. Like, yes, they haven't been playing great football, but they're still winning games.
Yeah,
great football teams
is winning games. Exactly.
I mean,
it's got to be top 5. So who's your number 4 team?
My number 4 teams is the Ravens.
The Ravens are in your top 5. They are 8-5. You know that, right?
I know what their record is.
Loves the Ravens.
I've said it before. The record has nothing to do with my power rankings. I still think they're one of the best teams, a top 4 team. They've lost plenty of games. I'm not doubting that. I mean, but it comes down to roster. It comes down to quarterback. I think Lamar Jackson is still, in top runner for MVP. And I still think he will win them games. Just like Patrick Mahomes wins them games back against the wall, I think Lamar will do the same. And that's what he's been doing. And I feel like it's come down to a couple of things that didn't revolve around him. Kickers, just unfortunate circumstances, like, Likely's foot being outside of the end zone by a millimeter. I mean, just small stuff like that. They haven't gotten blown out. I mean, they're still a great team, and I think they can make a run for it in the right circumstance.
So number 5, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings here. Sam Darnold.
Wow.
Sam Darnold has 28 touchdown passes.
From the beginning of the season, you're saying they're going to put the other foot down. They're going to take a step back. Now they're your top 5 team.
Sam Darnold's playing like a top 10 quarterback. 28 touchdown passes.
Glad you realized.
Over 100 passer rating. He's been very effective. And with that, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, that actually might be the best wide receiver duo in the league. Jordan Addison.
That's a hot take.
Jordan Addison has been playing out of his mind.
Yes.
He's a one on a different team. He is a one on a different.
Jamar Chase.
Yes, that's better.
I
Higgins,
think that
and
might,
Brown and
and
Smith.
T. Higgins.
They are 3. They are 3. You got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and then you have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison.
That's fair.
I think that's my top 3 there. So maybe number 1, not so much, but the talent on the offense. Brian Flores.
I know it's crazy to bring up. What about the Jets? Even though they're not good, I mean, they got Garrett Wilson,
and Devontae Adams. I think on paper that's a good one. But
on paper,
it's all on paper with the Jets.
Right, I know. I just want to troll.
Brian Flores on the defense. I mean, they don't have a lot of names on that defense, but they've been outperforming. They've been overperforming, and this team, look, they're 11-2. They are going to at least win a playoff game for sure. Sam Darnold's going to get himself a nice contract. Mm-hmm. Who's your number 5?
My number 5 is the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, as much as I wanted to put them higher, I've said this, time and time out. I think the coaching staff just isn't there. I mean, Nick Sirianni, I think him alone will, bring down the stock on the team. On the other hand, yeah, they do have a great roster. They win games. I mean, they've been blowing out teams left and right. I just didn't like, that Panthers game. I mean, that's a game they should have, blown this team out of the water. And they do this all the time, They'll have one really good game, and then they'll just have one game. It's like, what is this team? What are they doing? But, that doesn't change the fact that they've been playing great football, that they have one of the best rosters on the league. I think they have their best roster on the league. I think they do. I mean, can you argue that?
I don't know who has a better roster right now, honestly.
I don't either. I mean, defense, offense.
Special teams, probably.
Special teams, yeah.
Coordinators.
Very well-rounded team, and they can get it done. And, again, one of those right circumstances, right matchup, I think they can make it back to the Super Bowl.
Number 6, I have to go Pittsburgh Steelers here. Russell Wilson is making big-time throws again. That touchdown throw to Freiermuth was something like old Russell Wilson. This is a top 3 defense. T.J. Watt, I think, is the front-runner for Defensive Player of the Year. Mike Tomlin, I thought he should have been gone after the season. I'm like, okay, he's never had a losing record, but they're just a 9-win team every year. They are 11-2. They might have a shot for the 1 seed.
They've never had that quarterback.
So Russell Wilson, they made the change midseason to go from Fields to Russell Wilson after being 4-2. We all thought it was crazy. Move of the year. This is the move of the year. There's so many Coach of the Year candidates: Dan Campbell, Sean Payton, Mike Tomlin, Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings. There are so many Coach of the Year candidates right now.
I think Dan Campbell gets it just because he hasn't got it.
Yes.
He hasn't got it.
No,
right?
he has not.
He hasn't. I think he gets it.
I think he gets
Respectfully.
it. Respectfully. I think he's the front runner.
He's earned it. I mean, over year in and year out.
I think we have to take the Steelers seriously as a contender in the AFC. So who's your number 6?
My number 6 is the Packers.
Green Bay.
The Green Bay Packers. And I think this is a team, again, 1 year away, but, right circumstance, I could see them making a run for it. Jordan Love has been just phenomenal. I mean, even it seems like he's reeling back in the turnovers. He's making smarter moves. He's, stepping up in the pocket, running out of the pocket. This is just a very young team that's, it kind of reminds me of last year's Texans. They're just playing up to par. I mean, everything is firing on all cylinders. I mean, Josh Jacobs I feel like he has been the key move. I mean, that picking him up has been a game changer. I mean, he has been completely tearing it up. I mean, I'm very impressed by the way he's played. I think you need another back, to help him out and to take away some of the pressure. But I think this is a great team that, I wouldn't be surprised if they made a run for it.
Number 7, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens here. I think they do have the ability and the potential to be a top 3 team. I still think Lamar and Derrick Henry is an all-time duo this season, but I'm just not crazy about this defense, specifically the secondary. They were one of the best defenses in the league last year. Actually had historic numbers last season on defense. It was the Browns and the Ravens as best defenses last season. Now, this is one of the worst defenses in the league. This is a bottom 10 defense. So, do I love Lamar and Henry? Yes. Does Lamar have... Is he on and off in some games? He's mostly on in almost every game. He's dominant in most of these games. So I'm not worried about Lamar. Not worried about Derrick Henry.
So what are you worried about?
The defense. So that's why I have him at 7. Who's your 7?
My number 7 is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
Now,
so you have the Ravens over the Steelers is what I want to
I
clarify.
do. I do.
Don't forget the Steelers beat the Ravens, right?
Thank you.
You remember that? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Fact Checker. Yes. I know they beat them, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think the Ravens have a better roster. I think the Ravens are the better team.
Okay. No, I as talent-wise, I can't. I mean, the Steelers' defense is like borderline all-timer right now with T.J. Watt,
and they have been, and I think that's the one thing that they slowed down on.
The Ravens' offense has players like name play. Look, they're not great at wide receiver, but they have Flowers. They add Deontay Johnson, who was a top player in Pittsburgh not too long ago. Andrews, Likely, Derrick Henry. I
think their offense is miles better than the Steelers.
I mean, I agree. Yeah, they have one of the best offenses in the league.
It just comes down to defense. Like, let's say the Ravens had the Steelers' defense,
they would be the best team in the league.
They would have been the best team of all times.
Yeah, definitely. If they had the defense they did last year with this offense, they had a historic defense last year. The Ravens.
How does it change in one season?
I don't know. They lose their bet. They lose the coordinator to the Seahawks, Mike McDonald, the head coach now of the Seahawks. They lose him. They lost Patrick Queen.
And then look at the Seahawks now.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Mike McDonald clearly is a good head coach.
Yeah.
Good
defensive
guy.
He might be up there too. I don't know if he gets it. There's a lot of other candidates.
Well, he is the head. He took over the head coaching job of the Seahawks now. The defensive guy on the Ravens now, I don't even know who his name is though, but he's done his best, but this Ravens team is just the secondary has not been the same.
Secondary has been falling off.
Number 8.
No, I didn't even really get into anything with the Steelers.
Go ahead.
I mean, ever since they added Russell Wilson or they started Russell Wilson, this offense has been light years better. I mean, from day one, we saw it. I mean, like you said, what we were thinking. What are they thinking? You said it plenty of times that we don't know what they're seeing in practice, and kudos to them because like that him and George Pickens and all these other wide receivers. I mean, Russ is finally he's back. Russ is finally cooking.
And he didn't even have George Pickens in the last game. And he made that touchdown throw, the Freiermuth, where he kind of went sidearm moving. That looked like vintage Russell Wilson. Am I wrong? It was very impressive for sure.
It was.
Number 8, I'm going to go Green Bay Packers here. I love their talented offense. I love their receivers. I love the addition of Josh Jacobs. Love Jordan Love. I think he's a top 10 quarterback. But I do think the offense is a little inconsistent. I do think Jordan Love is a little inconsistent. I do think Josh Jacobs, the addition of Josh Jacobs in a consistent running game has helped Jordan Love because when they get a little off balance on offense, like the passing game gets a little inconsistent, they start to run the ball more with Josh Jacobs. So he's been huge for them. But I do think this offense, like the Lions game, they started off slow to get it going. The Vikings game, they were getting blown out 28-7. They finally come roaring back, lose 31-29. They get it going a little too late sometimes. So maybe Jordan Love needs some like rev up period. Maybe it has something to do with play calling. Not really play calling, but like he's better off script than on script. The first half usually scripted. So
he looks great off script.
Remember how many starts has he had? Maybe like a full season worth of start. Oh, maybe what we had like 25 full starts.
He's young. We're over a full season, but still. Yeah,
not a lot of starts, young, so he's still adjusting to his style of play and learning how to play within his system. Still a good team, top 10 team. Might be a year away from being a Super Bowl contender. Yeah. They might somehow win 2 games in a row.
They might be sneaky.
They could make the NFC Championship game. I could be wrong, but I just think there's so many. The Eagles are better. The Lions are better. I think the Vikings are better. So those are 3 teams ahead of them. So I would put them 4th in the NFC. So I have them at 8. Who's your 8?
Interesting. At my 8, I have the Buccaneers.
Wow, do you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in your top 10?
Well, listen, I think, Baker has been running this offense great. Like, he kind of reminds me of a poor man's Josh Allen. I mean, I love the fire in him, and he just runs his offense very well. Even without Mike Evans, they are still looking like a phenomenal team. Without all with their missing players, they're still, staying in games, winning games, and I just love what I've seen for this offense. I mean, Baker alone, again, a top 10 quarterback for me.
Yeah, he's been playing like a top 10 quarterback for sure. Just like they lost a couple of pieces, not really the same team they were a few years ago. I think that might be a little questionable, but hey, kudos to you, man.
Listen, Baker. Every game, bro. Every game. They're staying in games.
They are. No, they are. They are. I gotta give you that. And they're probably gonna win the NFC South. That's for sure.
Watch out, because that's a scary team if you meet in the playoffs.
Number 9. I have to, after last game, I have to put the Los Angeles Rams in my top 10. When Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, Matt Stafford, when they're all playing and they're all on and they're all clicking like that Bills game, how do you stop this team? How is this not a top 10 team? Then you got Jared Verse and Fisk on the defensive line, creating pressure, getting sacks. This team... a couple weeks ago, I was like, is this team chopped? Are they washed?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's exactly what you were saying. Now I'm looking
at them against a Buffalo Bills team, kind of working them a little bit.
Working them. 42 points, brother.
That's what I mean, though.
42 points. No, I wanted to add them to my top 10, but they're just too far out of contention.
Who's your 9?
My 9 is the Vikings.
You have them low, I feel like. You have them oddly low.
I do. I think they've, come down back to earth, and I don't think they've been playing that great of football. But they're still winning games at the end of the day. They're playing closer than they should be, but they're winning games. That wide receiver duo, Jordan Addison has been coming on. Ever since his injury, ever since he came back, it's just been... This offense has been light and day. It's great when you have something like that where you don't have, you have that great wide receiver, but then you have that other guy that can fill in at any moment. And there's nothing really much else to go into there. I think the defense could, that's the only weak spot on this team. But I don't think they're there yet. I think, give it another year or so, and they can kind of put it together. I don't know what they're doing with JJ and Sam Darnold. Who do you start? I feel like that's the one thing that's kind of holding them back.
You have to right now go with, how do you let Darnold go?
How do you let Darnold
He's about to throw for 30 touchdown passes. He's at 28 right now. We got 4 games left.
Do you let go of JJ, the guy you just drafted?
You can get a first round pick for him, actually.
You can, but are they going to let him go?
I don't know. Maybe you sit him for a year, franchise tag Darnold, see running back one more year. Franchise tag, but that's a $40 million franchise tag. I think he's worth $40 million the way he's played this year.
Yeah, yeah.
1 year, $40 million, I'll do that. That's fine with me. But anyway, I will round off the top 10 here. Number 10, Seattle Seahawks. Look, they're winning. They're leading the NFC West right now.
Seahawks are in your top 10.
The Seahawks beat the Rams, and I have the Rams over them just because of the star power. But the star power for the Seahawks, too, on offense. When they have all these guys going, the 2 running backs, Jackson Smith and Jigba finally starting. Maybe he's the number 1. I don't know. Mike McDonald, defensive head coach, has his defense playing up to par. Beating the Cardinals twice, again, 2 huge divisional games. They're winning the division right now. They're 8-5. How do I not have them here? So that's my top 10. Who's your number 10?
My number 10 is the Texans.
No. You have the Texans in the top 10?
I have the Texans. Okay. Listen, they haven't been playing great football. I'll give you that. But they're staying in games. They're winning games. The roster alone kind of has me. Joe Mixon, he has been night and day on this team. Once they added him, he was injured for, I think,
couple games
for the first half of for the season, and then as soon as he came back, night and day.
He's been huge for the offense.
He has been, and especially when you're missing pieces like Stephon Diggs, I think they could still stick in games and win games. I don't think they're that superpower that they used to be last year, but I think they're still a team that can be sneaky good, on any given day.
Okay, so I'm going to list 3 teams that just missed my top 10 and why, and you'll list 3 teams. So I'll do 3, and then you'll do 3. Ready?
Fair enough.
Okay, number 11, this team just missed my top 10, the Washington Commanders. This team cooled off. They started off red hot. They cooled off a little bit, but they could still be explosive at any moment. They might get red hot again. I still think they're a year away. They just don't have that much talent on this roster. But they do have some players, so they could get hot again. Number 12, Denver Broncos. I want to put them in my top 10 so bad. Sean Payton for Coach of the Year. Bo Nix for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I really wanted to put them higher, but they're also another team. You'll see the theme of these three teams is a year away.
Yeah.
They might be feisty. They're going to make the playoffs. They might be feisty in the playoffs, but like I would like to see them add a few more plays before I say they're a contender. So I'll put them at 12. Number 13, Los Angeles Chargers. Another situation. I think they're a year away. Great quarterback, great head coach. I just don't think they have enough talent on offense. McConkey was hurt, Dobbins was hurt, and they had no one out there. Stone Smart, who's Stone Smart? So coaching and quarterback alone, and look, the defense has been great too. One of the, I think they've allowed the least points per game in the league. The defense has been playing great, out of their mind. But I just don't think they have enough talent on offense to be a top 10 team. So 11 Commanders, 12 Broncos, 13 Chargers.
You want to hear something funny?
What?
All three of those teams are in my top 10 to 13.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Not in that order, but all of them are in the same.
That's really funny.
So
That's
my
really funny.
number 11 is the Chargers, the LA Chargers. And I feel like this it's the same theme. All these teams are a
year away.
And I feel like this Chargers team has been night and day ever since they added Harbor. I mean, he's kind of turned this team around. You add a couple good pieces on offense, and you got a good team. You got a team that can compete against Patrick Mahomes, against Bo Nix, against these other teams, you know. So I think they're really one step away, and I think they're good. The Broncos, another team that's, you know, Bo Nix has been. I mean, these are all. You know,
I would love to put this team in my top 10. The Broncos. It was tough. There are some good teams in this league.
And I feel like this is another sneaky team that can kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, I don't think, you know, they're ready yet. You got to get a running back. You got to get a couple of other pieces. But Bo Nix, he can be.
He's looking very impressive. He's looking
really
impressive.
might be that guy. I mean, one of my friends is a Broncos fan, and he tells me all the time, like, Bo Nix is that guy.
I've been telling
I'm like,
you.
bro, he might not even be like the second best player in the division.
Yeah,
because you got Patrick Mahomes
and Justin Herbert. Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Then my number 13 is the Commanders, another team that's a couple years away.
You have it reversed, actually.
I do.
Yeah.
I have it reversed. That's funny.
So what's going on with you and the Commanders? Because they started off strong, but they did cool off.
I mean, you kind of hit it on the head. They started off very strong, and it shows, you know, what they can be. I think, you know, you need to, you know, round out some edges. You need to get a couple more pieces. You know, you need some growing to do. I mean, both these quarterbacks, Broncos and Commanders, they're the first year guys, rookies.
Right. So you're looking up from here.
You're looking up.
All three of these teams,
all in rebuild.
All three of these teams that just missed our top 10.
Especially Commanders.
Yes.
Rebuild. I mean, they just got a new owner. They could,
Broncos too, cutting Russell Wilson, drafting Bo Nix. This has been a rebuild for them.
Absolutely.
So we'll repeat. Let's do it right now. So number 1, Detroit Lions. Number 2, Buffalo Bills. Number 3, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 4, Chiefs. 5, Vikings. 6, Steelers. 7, Ravens. 8, Packers. 9, Rams. 10, Seahawks. 3 that missed for me. Commanders at 11. Broncos at 12. Chargers at 13.
Cool. So I have number 1 at Bills. No.
You want to.
I wanted to.
Go ahead.
So
maybe after this week we will.
Maybe after this week. They're playing each other. Number 1, I have Lions, 2 Bills, 3 Chiefs, 4 Ravens, 5 Eagles, 6 Packers, 7 Steelers, 8 Bucks, 9 Vikings, 10 Texans, and then the 3 that missed for me are Chargers, Broncos, and Commanders.
So, dude, we are in our final stretch. 4 more weeks left of the season. We're going to see teams fight for the playoffs, fight for the number 1 seed, fight for their football lives. Some of these coaches, players, quarterbacks. So
the most exciting time in football.
We will do one more top 10 after the last week of the season, and then we'll do our playoff predictions. It's going to be a fun week after this. We actually, this is a fun time, dude. We got Christmas coming up on Netflix this season. It's just... So, right from Thanksgiving on, you really hit important football now. We have so many good games coming up.
Great games and then terrible games.
Yeah, so stay tuned because we're going to do...
You can just focus on the good games.
Exactly, that's what I mean. So, stay tuned because we're going to do our Week 15 picks because we got the Bills, Lions, Steelers, Eagles, Packers, Seahawks, Rams, Niners, Bucks, Chargers. We got a ton of good ones coming up in this next week, Week 15.
It's going to be fun.
So, stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching our top 10. Thanks, Dylan, for giving me your top 10, even though I thought mine was better. No, I'm just kidding. Yours is good too, I think. Take care, guys. Thanks. See you for the next episode. Thank you. Take care.